This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon. Hey guys, I'm here with a video showing you how I made the floating cards for my friend Zatanna Cosplay. To start off, you're going to need some clear thread, string, rope of some sort. Fishing line works. This specific string is something that can be found in the crafting section of plenty of stores, and it's just clear plastic string. You're also going to need a deck of cards that you don't mind sacrificing. So now I'm going to explain what I'm doing because I realized you can't really see the clear plastic thread in the video. And that makes sense because you don't want it to show up on camera. So it did its job, but it's hard to make a tutorial on now. So here's what I did. I started off by making 2 holes on opposite ends of the cards. So you're going to want to poke a hole in, if you do it in the top right corner, you're going to want to do it in the bottom left corner or vice versa. It doesn't really matter which corner you pick, you just want them to be opposite corners because you only want to have to thread 2 strings through the card. Then I take a very long, extra long piece of thread, much longer than I know I'll need. Take 2 of those actually, and then tie a loop at the ends of both threads, only one end to start with. These are the loops that you're going to fit your fingers into, so you want to make sure that it is big enough to fit your fingers in and not too tight, because I'm pretty sure if this is too tight you can injure yourself. It is plastic thread after all. Once that was done, I moved on to what you see me doing here. And that is, I left a little bit of space from the loops that we just made and then tied a knot or tied a double knot, just a knot that was big enough so that it wasn't going to slide through the hole that we poked in the card. And then I slid the card onto the string so that it met that knot and then tied a knot onto the other side. So now the card was secured in place and it wasn't going to move. And then I left another space and did the same thing with the next card, a space, the same thing with the next card, and so on. I do this with both sides and all the cards, and the space that you leave in between the cards is totally up to you. I eyeballed it. The spacing in between each card wasn't exactly the same. I just went with whatever looked good and whatever looked about the same according to how many cards I decided I wanted in this stack of cards. So it's all up to preference. Do whatever you think looks best. The length of the stack of cards is also totally up to you. I went with something that when I held my hands apart, it wasn't super far apart, but they weren't super close together. They were held at a distance where it looked magical, and floating cards looked mystical sitting in between them. Basically, this length is going to be different for everyone because everyone has a different arm length. So go based off whatever feels most comfortable for you to hold. Once all the cards were strung, I tied a loop at the other end and then secured it with a little bit of super glue just because this string was pretty slippery and I was afraid the knots were going to come undone. So when you're finished, you should have your stack of cards and they should have 2 loops at either end and be strung on opposite ends of the card diagonally. And those loops are there so that you could put your fingers through and hold the cards, and it will look like it's floating when you have them pulled apart. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful and learned something new. Have a lovely day, and bye!